Hello everybody, welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about some college softball World Series predictions, and we're now going to switch into gymnastics, where we talk about the results of the Asian Gymnastics Championships. These championships took place on May 24th through May 26th in Uzbekistan. This championship was particularly special because it marks something important in history. So, without further ado, we're just going to get straight into it. So, what was the historical moment of this? Dipa Karmakar became the first ever Indian gymnast to win a gold medal at the Asian Championships. In the all-around, though, the top two athletes were from China. The 30-year-old Dipa, who was 8th with 12.65 in the qualification, scored an identical 13.566 in her two attempts for an overall 13.566 in the final. She was followed by two North Koreans, Kim Sun-hyun and Jo Keon-bol. It was Dipa's second medal in the championships after her bronze in Hiroshima in 2015. It was a remarkable performance by Dipa, who struggled through injuries, 2 knee surgeries, and a 21-month suspension for a doping violation. For someone who missed out on crucial opportunities to qualify for the Paris Olympics, first due to her suspension and then due to a decision not to send the team for one of the 4 apparatus World Cups, the Asian gold was a big consolation. Dipa, who made history when she finished 4th in the 2016 Rio Olympics vault final and narrowly missed out on the medal, said, "Of course, not being able to qualify for the Olympics was disappointing, but now I want to enjoy this moment." Earlier on Friday, Dipa finished 16th in the all-around category with a score of 46.166 and unfortunately failed to secure a Paris 2024 Olympic quota for India in gymnastics. However, the vault gold adds to Dipa's already impressive list of firsts for Indian gymnastics. She is also the first Indian female gymnast to compete at the Olympics and finish a incredible 4th in women's vault at Rio 2016, the best display by any gymnast at the Summer Games to date. She also did win the women's vault gold medal at the 2018 FIG World Cup in Turkey, becoming the first Indian to ever win a gold medal at a global gymnastics event. So even though she didn't, technically qualify for the Paris Olympics, she still has made a lot of historical records and marks in history. So she should still be very satisfied with all of those accomplishments. So now we're going to talk about the top 10 finishers in this championships. I want to put out something. I'm really sorry if I am pronouncing these names incorrectly. As we know, I am very good at, mispronouncing names, and I'm really bad at remembering names too. That's a little fun fact. So names and me just do not get along, I guess. So I apologize for mispronouncing any names. So we're just going to get right started. With first place was Wo Jia from China. She did very well in the uneven bars, finishing with a score of 13.8. In the vault, she got a score of 12.533, and on the balance beam, she finished with a score of 12.5. Her floor exercise was pretty well, but this was where she did, worse compared to her other scores. She finished with a score of 11.886 on floor, but that was still better than a lot of other competitors in the top 10. She still placed first. Obviously, that score didn't drop, her all-around score much at all. It didn't really matter in the end since she finished first. And her all-around score was 50.699. She does have that natural gymnastics build. She has this beautiful, artistic, graceful performance in the floor routine, especially, you could really tell. And I don't know, she's very beautiful to watch for performative wise. In second place was Qin Xin Yi from China. She dominated on floor with a score of 13.0, which was the highest score on floor in the top 10 finishers. She did very well on the balance beam with a score of 13.7, which was the highest score on the balance beam of the top 10 finishers by a huge margin. She was more than 1 point above on the balance beam than the first place finisher. On the uneven bar, she recorded a score of 12.133, and on the vault, she had a score of 11.733. Her all-around score was 50.566, so super close to the first place position. In third place was Emma Balabuyo from the Philippines. She did the best on floor with a score of 13.333, and then on the vault, she got a score of 13.033. Her balance beam had a score of 12.566, which was higher than most, but her uneven bars is where she didn't do so well compared to her other scores. She finished with a score of 11.466 on the uneven bars, which dropped her all-around score down a bit. Still, she did very well with a total score of 50.398, which is super close to the second and first place position, and she had third overall, which means that she qualified for the Olympics. Now, if you are like, this name is, I really recognize this name very well, it's because she actually was a gymnast at UCLA, and just 3 years ago, she traveled to Tokyo to serve as an alternate for Team USA in the Olympics. She began representing the Philippines a year ago in her quest to make the Olympic team. She almost gave up on her dream after falling short in the International Gymnastics World Cup Series. She said she cried for 3 days after the World Cup and admitted she began doubting herself. So this is such a huge accomplishment for her that she qualified for the Paris Olympics. She said after the competition, quote, "I'm just so overwhelmed. I'm speechless. I think I'm still shaking just hearing the news." And I'm like, is this real? Like, I still can't believe it just because it's been such a long and endurous path to get here. The fourth place finisher was Ida Bauer-Shanava from Kazakhstan, and her all-around score was also super close to the second and first place finishers. She finished with an all-around score of 50.365. Her floor exercise was her best score with a total of 13.066 points. Her vault score was her second best with a score of 12.966. And her balancing score followed pretty close at 12.7. Her uneven bars score was where she did not do too well with a score of 11.633. So just like the third place finisher, she was lacking a bit on the uneven bars. In fifth place was Liao Yicheng from Taiwan. She had an all-around score of 49.932. Her vault score was the best with a score of 13.066, and her floor size was pretty close, standing at 13.0. Her uneven bars and balance beam was not her best, with scores of 11.4 and 11.766 respectively. I really admire watching her because she has those long, beautiful legs that make her this graceful, artistic-y gymnast. And I feel like I said this before in another video, but there is sometimes those two different gymnasts where you have those powerful, strong, muscular gymnasts, and then you have your more graceful, lengthy gymnast. And I feel like she encompasses that lengthy, graceful gymnast so well, but also she has that strength that provides her the momentum to do so well in the vault. I don't know, she's like she just kind of has it all, I feel like, and I see her definitely maybe being a huge Olympic contender in the future if she does continue. In sixth was Levi Young Ruvirva from the Philippines with a total score of 49.166. She did very well on all of her events, but she did not have a score in any events of 13 and above, which kind of put her down in the final score, like on average. She had a score of 12.7 on vault, 12.8 on the uneven bars, 11.166 on balance beam, and 12.5 on floor. Although her scores were good, the opponents above her all had a score of 13 and above and something, which helped them boost their all-around score to make the top 5. In seventh place was Lim Sumin from South Korea. She did very well on vault and floor, but her uneven bars and balance beam scores hurt her all-around score. She ended with a total score of 49.099, 13.033 on vault, and 12.966 on floor, but her uneven bar score was 11.3, and her balance beam score was 11.8. In eighth place was Alexandra Shevchenko from Uzbekistan. She was super close to the seventh place finish, and her all-around score was 48.965, so literally so close. Her floor size was 12.833, her balance beam was 11.56, her uneven bars was 11.7, and her vault was 12.866. She did really well on the vault and floor, just like the seventh place finisher. She's probably one of my favorites to watch as well. I feel like her name is very much known globally, and she does have a very good record. So, I enjoyed watching her a lot. In 9th and 10th, the all-around scores were so close. It's actually insane. Jo Ki-yeon Bail from North Korea finished in 9th. Her all-around score was 48.665. Park Na-young from South Korea finished in 10th, and her all-around score was 48.632. So just like looking at the scores very specifically, 665 was the 9th and 632 was the 10th. So literally so close. For the vault, Biol had a score of 13.633, which was in the top scores for vault. Her uneven bars was 11.666. Her balance beam score was 10.933, and her floor exercise had a score of 12.433. Although she did very well on vault, her balance beam score was lacking a bit. And then Ne Young had a score of 12.933 on vault, 10.366 on uneven bars, 12.8 on balance beam, and 12.533 on floor. So she didn't particularly dominate one event, but she did well across events other than the balance beam. If she had improved on her uneven bar score. If she had improved on her uneven bar score, she definitely would have been a close chance to finish in 9th. So those are all the scores and places of the top 10 finishers. Before we move on to our next segment, I wanted to talk about Osenka Chusovitina. She had been in 9 Olympic Games before. She is 48 years old and looks absolutely amazing, as you can see in this picture. She is from Uzbekistan and she was hoping to compete in the Paris Olympics, but that dream of hers was crushed by an injury. We all expected her to be competing in the Asian Championships, but she posted about her injury on Thursday to let everyone know the sad news that she will not be able to compete in the Olympics or in the championships. Chusovitina made her Olympic debut in 1992 in Barcelona as the member of the unified team. The delegation was made up of former Soviet republics, aside from the Baltic states of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, which had elected to compete as one unit after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. She won a gold medal in the team all-around competition that year and has competed in every summer game since then. Chusovitina's second and only other medal came in 2008 in Beijing in the vault. She competed as a German athlete, the third different team she had represented at the games on that occasion, and subsequently in London in 2012 after obtaining citizenship. She switched back to Uzbekistan for the 2016 and 2020 Olympics. Chusovitina won the Uzbekistan all-around title in April, and what it was a boost to her Olympic hopes at the time. Here is what she wrote on social media specifically, and I quote this: "My dear friends, fans, and everyone who loves gymnastics, unfortunately, I have some sad news for you. Yesterday, while training on the podium of the Asian Championships, which is taking place in Tashkent and is a qualifying event for the Olympic Games in Paris, I was injured during the floor exercise. I will not be able to take part, and I'm very upset as I have been preparing for this competition for a long time. I started doing all around and I wanted to perform in our country in front of our fans. But unfortunately, tomorrow you will not see me among the participants. I would like to express my gratitude to all of you, but you can come and support our girls. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow." It is really upsetting news, but at least she had the opportunity to compete in many Olympics in the past and had done very well there. I'm not sure if she is planning on competing in the next Olympics, but honestly, I don't think she will. But then again, she has been training for so long and gymnastics is her life, so we will see. So we are now going to move on to the next segment where we talk about the Prefontaine Classic recap in Eugene, Oregon that took place this weekend. Before we get into that, we are going to be taking a short break, so I will see you guys very soon.